Sounds okay. Live streaming for the first time, I think ever. Maybe I did one live on TikTok back in the pandemic days, but I thought I would try this because I was going to answer several questions from the Illinois Divorce Support Network, our private Facebook group, and just record them and put them out on the Facebook group channel and then also drop them eventually on YouTube. And I thought, let's try live streaming and see what happens. And I hooked it up on Riverside FM. Shout out to Riverside. And we thought, let's give it a try. We're live on Facebook on my profile and on the STG Divorce Law YouTube channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. So first, I'm going to answer a few questions from the Divorce Support Network, and I hope you find this interesting. If this isn't your jam, you can always watch something else. So here we go. First, and if the audio is echoing, that's on me. I apologize. We'll get this straightened out. But here we go. Who to talk to about getting half of my soon-to-be ex, we say STBX in the biz, pension asset as a lump sum. He's been retired for 4 years already and takes a monthly payment now. Can I opt for one lump sum? Obviously, I'd have to pay the tax on that right away. It would assure me financial security in the event he dies before me. Is it better to take as an annuity, pay all the tax up front, have money to invest, etc.? I want to, I don't want to risk taking monthly payments. When he dies, I get nothing. We did the original Quildro draft already. I'll explain a Quildro. And they automatically configured it as a monthly asset. Didn't even ask if I wanted it as a lump sum. Or they said annuity, but I get it. Okay. A Quildro is a qualified Illinois domestic relations order, Quildro. A Quadro is a QDRO, qualified domestic relations order. The only distinction is these are orders used to divide pensions or 401ks, things like that, without tax consequences. And they're used in divorce cases to divide these plans, these qualified plans. And the Quildro, the IL, just means it's an Illinois state pension, like TRS, for example. So that's the only distinction, really. The answer to this question is most of the time you can't opt to take a lump sum. You are stuck with becoming basically an alternate beneficiary. You kind of, the term I use is you ride along with the recipient. So the person who is the beneficiary, when they retire, they'll start taking their benefit. And then if you're divorced that person, you're taking your portion of that benefit if, as, and when they do. And that's just the way it goes. So if they die, many of these pensions don't have death benefits, and some do, some don't. You have to be careful to check out the plans. So your benefits may terminate at the death of the primary beneficiary. So that's the gist. You can't opt for an annuity versus a lump sum in most of these plans. So that's the answer to that question. Okay, the next one. I'm doing these rapid fire, so we're working without a net. Ladies and gentlemen, if I have to borrow against my 401k to pay for a lawyer, can my spouse touch that money, or is it possible to withdraw and have someone else hold on to it? Well, you can actually get a court order to withdraw that. You can get a Quadro, qualified domestic relations order, to pull money out of the 401k to pay for attorneys and really other expenses too. You might qualify for the hardship break, where you get a break on the, you get the penalty doesn't hit you if you're pulling the money out for hardship. And I believe divorce counts as one of those. Consult your tax professional for advice, folks. I am not a CPA. But if you're pulling money out to pay for your attorney, theoretically, and you're going to keep some of it and give some of it to your lawyer, that's assuming it's a marital asset, then that's money that your spouse could reach also. So if you pull it out and put it in a separate account, it's still marital property. But if you're controlling it, they won't be able to get direct access. They might be able to bring a motion to access that money during the case, assuming they have no access to other cash. So it may be worth a try. Your mileage may vary. You got to consult with an experienced divorce lawyer in your area for the best advice, depending on your circumstances. This might be a good idea, or it might not be a good idea based on your situation. Okay. I'm just going through these one at a time quickly. Can you be asked to do mediation if you have an active order of protection? A parenting plan was sent to the other parent 4 months ago. Nothing was sent back. Now a motion was filed with the new attorney for us to go to mediation. Well, if the OP prevents you from seeing each other, no, you're not going to have to go to mediation. The mediation is impossible if there's a no contact order. So you don't describe the details of your order of protection. If it's been months, I'm assuming you have what we call a plenary order of protection, which in Illinois can be up to 2 years max. So without knowing the details, hard for me to tell you. But generally speaking, no, you're not going to be forced to go sit with somebody if you have an active OP out there. That's pursuant to the Illinois Domestic Violence Act, the order of protection. We have emergency orders, which are good for 21 days max. And then you can, at that point, you have a hearing to see if you can get a plenary order for up to 2 years, depending on the discretion of the court. So that's the short story on that. Okay, next one. We're getting a lot of retirement questions. SURS retirement. SURS is an Illinois retirement plan. SURS is an Illinois state retirement plan for certain state employees. SURS retirement and divorce. I've been a stay-at-home mother for 14 years. Before high-earning X asked for divorce, X will have 30 years in at age 55. I'm guessing that means the pension plan. He's planning to retire. I obviously will not stop working for a long time. My Social Security hasn't had any contributions since 2010. Very common, for state employees in Illinois, they don't allow them to contribute to Social Security because they're going to get the state pension. So their benefits, you'll find a lot of state employees don't have any Social Security, or it's from when they had a minimum wage job when they were a kid, or it's quite limited. They still can claim on their spouse's Social Security wage record if they've been married more than 10 years. We're really getting in the weeds on benefit stuff here. Okay. I'll get alimony somewhere around $3,400 a month the next 14 years. That's nothing, not too shabby. By the way, tax-free in Illinois. He filed, tax-free, I think, across the country because of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017. He filed 11/24, married 7/06. That's a long time. How does this affect me? I'll get less alimony when he retires. Yes, that's correct. When he retires, he will file to terminate maintenance unless it terminates on its own accord. And it'll be reduced substantially or terminated altogether. Then I get SIRS ? This person. It's over $1 million. Not sure what the value is. What that person means is they can do like a lump sum calculation where they can look at the stream of payments that are projected by the pension plan and say, okay, today it's worth X dollars. In this case, the person is saying, today the pension's worth $1 million. Married portion of that would be 18 years. So that's the important thing is the part you get of a retirement plan is the marital portion, and you get, let's call it half of that. So in this case, 18 over 30, so a little more than half of this pension benefit will be coming to this person. Don't know the terms of the pension plan and don't know if there's a death benefit and that this person would be enrolled or not. So the answer is, yeah, when this person retires, maintenance will drop, but the pension will kick in until such time as this pays off. I'm sorry. Somebody called me. One of the hazards of live streaming. The pension will start kicking in when maintenance terminates, more or less. So that's how that's going to work. Let's see the next one here. Okay, here's a good one. Is it possible in a divorce decree or custody agreement, I think they mean, we call it allocation of parental responsibilities and allocation of parenting time in Illinois, basically new words for the same concepts. Can you say no to new partners in the kids' lives? That's interesting. Okay. Until after a year of their relationship. I had a therapist tell me you should wait at least a year, if not more. So it's not a revolving door. And I don't want the kids to have different women coming and going all the time when they're over there. Okay. This is what I call an aspirational clause in a parenting agreement. Some people want these. Some people think the person usually doesn't have a significant other when they're negotiating this, wants it in there, and they don't realize it applies to them too, or they don't think about that. We're all about looking outward. We don't reflect very well on ourselves. It's just human nature. So we want, for example, like when we're negotiating a parenting agreement, we want the next vacation. Then we don't realize that next year your ex is going to get that vacation because it alternates, and that maybe that's a bummer. So It's a two-way street. So you put in a 1-year thing. It's not a one-way deal where the 1 year applies only to them. And then you meet somebody, and after 3-4 months, you'd like them to meet the kids, mainly because it's convenient, because maybe they come by the house or something like that. Maybe after 6 months, they come by the house and it isn't person of the month club. And you want the kids to meet them, but now you've got this provision. I am not a fan of these because they're impossible to enforce. So let's say that you had this 1-year provision. First of all, judges don't do these things. They'll agree to them. If you agree to them, they'll sign off on them. But judges won't enter these as part of their trial order. So if you had a trial, you wouldn't get a provision like this in your custody judgment. They just don't put these aspirational things in there. You get visitation, holidays, the basic rules of how to behave, and that's about it. Things like this are kind of optional, and people like them, or they think they do, and they put them in the plans, and then they call a year later and they say, so-and-so's breaking the deal. And their girlfriend, they've got their girlfriend in there and they've only been together for 4 months. Instead, a lot of times, in my experience, I've seen 6 months, never a year. The most you'll see people agree to is 6 months, just letting you know. So they'll say, oh, they violated it. I want to do something. Good luck getting a judge to do anything in court on this. First of all, proving it. I mean, unless you caught them yourself, or they admit it, proof problems happen. Like you got challenges to prove this happened, that they introduced to children, that kind of thing. Or they just deny it. That kind of thing can be challenging. But then what does the judge do to punish the person? There's really nothing to do. So that's the problem, is what do you want? And the end goal is for them to behave and be cool with the kids and not introduce boyfriend or girlfriend of the week or whatever. And that's understandable. So the goal is laudable and understandable. It's just very difficult to enforce and not realistic in the real world, in our experience. I've been doing this for, 25 years, and our firm's been around over 30. These are always tricky, these kind of provisions. Here's another good one. What's the deal with marijuana use? Well, who are you asking? No, but here's the rest of the question. Like, wait a second. Here's the rest of the question. How big of a factor is it in judgments or the GAL's eyes? GAL is guardian ad litem. That's a lawyer appointed to look out for the best interests of the children in Illinois. They investigate custody visitation issues, and then they report back to the court. They make recommendations on what should happen with visitation and custody. And courts usually follow those recommendations, though they don't have to. They're not bound by them. So what's the deal with marijuana use? This person is saying, what is the impact? And appropriately enough, they used a green background for them. You can use these colored, graphic backgrounds on Facebook. If they used a green background, how appropriate. Okay. What's the deal? How big of a factor is it in judgments, GAL's eyes? Well, courts, I can tell you from personal experience, courts are not impressed by marijuana use on its own. They don't care. Similar to drinking on its own, not an issue. Does it impact the children? So if somebody's abusing, trying to drive the kids when they're drunk or high, now we have a problem we can take action on. If it's just that they're using, or they're buying the stuff, or they're drinking, I can tell you from experience, in these cases, the courts don't care. I had a judge kind of say one time, we had a case where there were pictures of drug use, believe it or not, on Facebook of the mom using tons of marijuana, or, big jar of marijuana, and pictures of them smoking and stuff like that. And our client said, look, this is outrageous. We should do something about it. We brought a motion for a drug test. This is early days. I don't even think it was legal in Illinois yet. And the judge, who's a baby boomer, which is relevant, said, basically, I don't care unless you got more than this. Now, all the pictures showed was the person was using and had a stash of marijuana somewhere, in a jar somewhere. And the judge basically said, look, if you're going to drug test this person, you better be right. And it better be like something serious, more than marijuana or something, because otherwise I'm going to test your guy and also going to charge him fees and sanction him for doing this. So it's got to be enough to get the judge upset about. And so it's got to be impacting the children. in some noticeable way or way you can prove easily. Okay, I hope that is interesting, informative. We'll break these up into clips and publish them on our YouTube channel and elsewhere. Thanks a lot for watching, folks. I'll probably do more of these lives in the future and answer your questions. I'm Raiford Dalton Palmer, best-selling author of I Just Want This Done. I'm going to show the book. How Smart, Successful People Get Divorced Without Losing Their Kids' Money and Minds. Available on Amazon, Audible, Kindle, and where all great ebooks are sold. On Nook, for example, and Apple Books, and also Barnes & Noble has the hardcover actually online. So check it out. It's the best-selling book on divorce still, 4 years running. And I know you'll find it useful. If you're contemplating divorce or you're in the middle of one or you have a friend who is, please let them know about it. It's been very, very well reviewed by all kinds of people. And I put a lot of my heart and soul into that book to help people out. So I hope you will check it out. Also, check out our podcast, the I Just Want This Done Divorce podcast. Now we're at episode 26 and we publish them weekly. My partner Rahul Iyer and I drop pods once a week and we talk about celeb divorce, dating, marriage stuff, and also a serious portion of each show is where we answer divorce questions from the audience, or we discuss a topic about divorce like business valuation, division of assets, like kind of like these questions, but in longer format. We did one recently where we talked about how divorce trials work. So we explained how they work, how long they take, what happens during them. So we provide all this information. Also, we have our pro bono day coming up where we do free consultations for half-hour consults for an entire day. We do that once a quarter. And we do a free divorce webinar every other Friday, which I think is coming up not this Friday, but the next Friday. That can all be found on our website at stglawfirm.com. That's stglawfirm.com. My book website is ijustwantthisdone.com. The podcast is ijustwantthisdonepod.com, but it's easy to find anywhere just by searching Raiford Palmer or by searching I Just Want This Done. You'll find the pod, you'll find the book and all that stuff. So follow me on social media, please. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and on X at Raiford Palmer on most of those platforms. Thanks a lot for listening, folks. Have a good night. And as always, a good marriage is better than a good divorce any day of the week. Try to stay together if it makes sense for you and your kids. Have a great night. Thanks.